and greetings from all of us at CLIA. At a time when consumer consciousness is putting more and more focus on our industry, it's important that we and our stakeholders understand the opportunities that cruise can deliver and also the facts behind some of the key messages facing our industry. So while we're just a very small part of the global maritime industry, less than 1% of global shipping, and just a blip in global tourism numbers at around 2% of the 1.4 billion international tourists pre-COVID, as an industry, we're also taking real and important steps towards reducing our impact in a whole range of areas. Over the next 15 minutes or so, we'll take a look at what this means in terms of our industry's responsibility to the environment we operate in. But first, a few words about CLIA and our role. Cruise Lines International Association is the world's largest cruise industry association. Our vision is for the cruise industry to be recognized as a leader in responsible travel and the best way to experience the world. Our mission is to foster our members' success and the common interests of the cruise industry by investing in research, development, and education that helps guide the industry in its unwavering commitment to protect and preserve the waters on which we sail and the destinations we visit. We also mount advocacy and promotional efforts that add and create value for our members while demonstrating the commitment, leadership, and positive impact the cruise industry has in responsible tourism. The CLIA community includes 56 of the world's most prestigious ocean, river, and specialty cruise lines, representing 95% of ocean-going cruise capacity. 350 executive partners, which includes members of the port and destination and travel community, maritime and technical service providers, and product and service suppliers supporting cruise line food, beverage, and hotel operations. 15,000 travel agencies include the largest travel agencies, hosts, franchises, and consortia throughout the world, and 54,000 travel agents, which includes travel agent members in North America, Europe, the United Kingdom, Asia, and Australasia. Through our global tech and reg team, we can provide advice and support on a wide range of industry issues. We will also provide support and advice on how best to grow and develop a sustainable industry and create opportunities for stakeholders to interact with the community. The cruise industry is heavily regulated with robust, clearly enforced standards and multiple layers of regulation and policy to implement the thousands of specific requirements by global regulators. As CLIA members, our cruise lines are required to operate within a set of industry policies that at a minimum meet and often exceed the rest of the maritime industry. And as an industry, we take a leading role globally in environmental best practice, as well as maritime safety and security, and of course, public health. So while we are just a very small part of the global maritime industry and just a blip in global tourism numbers, we are a growing industry, and with that growth comes responsibility. Responsibility to the oceans, the communities that cruise ships visit, and the people who work for them and with the industry. This encompasses the water under our ships, the air over them, and the destinations that we visit, and the people who work for the companies, including the people who work on board our ships. Pre-COVID, travel and tourism was growing far faster than the world's economy was growing, and that hunger to see the world appeared inexhaustible and is likely to come roaring back. This is wonderful for those of us who are in the travel and tourism business, but also a source of concern around the world for the impact on the environments that we all operate in. In the late 80s, around 3 million people in the world took a cruise, and at the start of 2020, around 30 million worldwide were cruising. So even if we are still only about 2% of international travel, we are definitely a more mainstream holiday choice. The world around us is changing, and it's changing fast. The expectations that communities around the world have of the tourism industry have taken on much greater complexity, and in many cases, adversarial activity and objections. Our industry is often in the spotlight because our ships are incredibly visible, tangible assets when they're in the harbors around the world. As a cruise industry, we're conscious that with our growth and increased weight comes the need to act responsibly, and we are taking our social responsibilities very seriously. Cruise lines are making substantial progress towards environmental protection and overall sustainability. And even while addressing the pandemic impacts, the industry has remained focused on its commitment to a sustainable future. A thriving cruise industry can support the economic recovery and long-term tourism objectives. For the global cruise industry, sustainable seas and thriving destinations are not only an important goal, but a business imperative. As we expect to see growth recover, we simply have to be exemplary in our actions. CLIA has 3 overarching sustainability strategies that summarize our approach to capturing the opportunity and demonstrating the responsibility, which, as it happens, all end in the word ship: leadership, stewardship, and partnership. We simply have to lead, and we're in 2 sectors simultaneously, so we have twice the leadership responsibility of most industries. We are 1% of the maritime industry, but we need to be leaders in it. And we're 2% of the international tourism industry, and we need to be leaders in that. We do this by leading the way with industry-leading policies and practices that are designed to protect the health and well-being of passengers, crew, the waters on which we sail, and the destinations we visit. Demonstrating the global commitment and local focus with industry-wide and industry-led initiatives to build and maximize awareness, credibility, and positive impact, and leveraging the power of partnerships to amplify the strength of our voice through advocacy, strategic communications, marketing, education, and networking. And we're doing this by taking a leadership role, including an industry-wide carbon reduction commitment, as well as investing billions in new technologies. A critical objective for all of us is very clear. It is zero emissions cruising. Back in 2018, our industry, through CLIA, was the first shipping sector to commit to reduce our carbon emissions by 40% by 2030. Cruise was the first maritime industry sector to publicly share the IMO's vision for carbon reduction. This was an important first step in working towards an emission-free maritime sector. But that's only the beginning of the long-term process. The 2050 goals that the IMO has set out for shipping are considerably more challenging, and the pathways to net zero are not yet mapped, as the transformational leap to 2050 will require new solutions yet unknown. So that means we have an enormous research and development challenge ahead of us. But with new technologies and efficiencies, cruise lines are working diligently and navigating well towards the industry's 2030 carbon reduction goal. CLIA Cruise Lines are investing more than $23 billion in ships with new energy-efficient technologies and cleaner fuels, and are achieving substantial progress in these areas. There are 25 LNG-powered ships currently ordered or under construction, and 49% of new build capacity will rely on LNG for primary propulsion, a 51% increase over 2018. LNG has virtually zero sulfur emissions, a 95 to 100% reduction in particulate emissions, an 85% reduction in NOx emissions, and up to 20% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. Energy efficiency offers only part of the solution. It reduces fuel consumption, which in turn reduces emission footprints and supports innovation. But the key to net zero will lie in developing new alternative fuels which can be made available at scale. While cruise lines are not fuel providers or technology manufacturers, they do have the ability to drive innovation through massive investment, operational experience, and knowledge. But we must also recognise that policymakers have an important role to facilitate major investment decisions. Innovative thinking will be critical. This includes new fuels acting as gateway fuels to the future. An example is LNG. While currently the best available transitional fuel, it offers significant immediate benefits. But it also paves the way for future fuels such as bio-LNG and synthetic LNG. Clean hydrogen is not yet available at scale, but hydrogen could offer a building block for development of synthetic fuels and other hydrogen-derived energy carriers. Combining knowledge from different industries will be critical to progress, and that means collaboration across the European and other maritime clusters, close coordination with fuel providers, and even with other sectors such as agriculture. And it's not only about the fuel. As we speak of stewardship, we simply have to continue to understand, invent, innovate, and implement endless new initiatives that are beneficial for sustainability, and in many cases exceed the regulatory requirements. Over the past 20 years, we have done this with what we call advanced wastewater purification systems, which ensure that all liquid waste is purified before going back into the ocean to a higher standard than most coastal cities. Large-scale future-proofing of port infrastructure will be required. Shoreside power, where the source of the power is sustainable, will increase. And of course, that only makes a real difference if the shore power comes from a clean source. New innovations in hybrid engine design will be critical. Technologically advanced hull coatings and air lubrication systems that can allow significant improvement in propulsion efficiency. An industry commitment to significant levels of recycling, with an average 60% more recycled per passenger than the average person recycles on land. Progressively eliminating single-use plastics from our ships, and improving waste management systems to the point where nothing is sent to landfill and waste heat is converted to energy. And the list of initiatives goes on and on. But operating sustainably is also about taking a leading role in destination stewardship to manage the impact of cruise ships and the growth in visitors' numbers on destinations. And that means forging meaningful partnerships, which is a key step to ensuring sustainable operations. CLIA and our cruise lines are working with leading destinations, communities, and NGOs to ensure that we protect the unique character and heritage of the places we visit, and that destinations are better off for having cruise ships visit than if they hadn't. A great example of this is the work that CLIA is doing with sensitive ports of call to ensure that cruise tourism is working for resident communities, destinations, and visitors. The industry looks at how to actively protect and preserve destinations, maintaining the best visitor experience while providing much needed economic income for the destinations. This is despite cruise only representing a very small percentage of all international global travel, only a very small part of the challenges faced by destinations around the world. Destinations are the lifeblood of the tourism industry. An example is the spectacular Croatian city of Dubrovnik, which has become one of the most sought-after destinations in the Adriatic. But Dubrovnik is not just a key tourism destination. It's a place that people call home, a place where people work, play, and raise their families, a community that thrives on a tourism economy and can be frustrated by tourism issues. Dubrovnik's incredible tourism growth has created jobs and boosted the local economy. But as we know, economic benefits alone do not make strong communities. A place must also be good for its residents to create great experiences for our customers and for the long-term growth of our businesses. We know we must work to preserve Dubrovnik's unique culture and heritage for its people and its visitors alike. The cruise industry and the city of Dubrovnik are working together to preserve and protect the cultural heritage of Dubrovnik, through responsible tourism management and to help establish Dubrovnik as a model for sustainable tourism in the Adriatic region, but more broadly beyond. Initiatives like this partnership and the work that the cruise industry is doing with local authorities in other cities will become the key to ensuring communities can manage future cruise tourism in a sustainable way. We have examples of how significant community support can help to drive cruise growth locally, how a heavily engaged and passionate local community can see the benefits that cruise delivers and therefore put their full support behind cruise. Increasing tourism numbers for local and regional attractions, driving increased economic activity, and leading to more jobs in tourism, in hospitality, and in stevedoring. So as we chart the pathway to sustainable cruising, we will need to continue to focus on leadership, stewardship, and partnership. We will need to be incredibly clear and more committed about what we intend to do in the area of sustainability. For everyone here, it means investment of time and effort to understand both the questions of sustainability and the answers. We will continue to improve energy and operational efficiencies. We will need to invest in research and new technologies, and we will need to adapt and develop new ways of working with partners. We have the privilege to fulfill the dreams and aspirations of millions of people by taking them to the most beautiful places in the world, and we want to be able to do it sustainably, not just because it's a business imperative, but because it is the right thing to do. I encourage you to visit our website at www.cruising.org to find out more about the cruise industry's sustainability initiatives and to reach out to us at CLIA with any questions you may have. Thank you for your time this afternoon.